And welcome to another great episode of Tampa Fishing Outfitters Radio on Sports Talk 10 for the team. Myself, Captain Jason Prieto, in the studio. Capitan Travis.
Right yonder.
The man. The Tarpon King. The Tarpon Slayer.
Killer, easy killer.
Tarpon Slayer.
Easy.
The man, the creature of havoc.
Oh, man. Havoc or habit?
Havoc.
Havoc.
Havoc. I like havoc. It's better. The creature of havoc.
The fish tremble when they hear the old Canyon Bay coming, buddy.
Oh, what happened to the Triton?
I got a new boat, man.
The Triton.
I got a new boat.
The Triton. What happened to the Triton? The old Triton.
The Triton is for sale. Getting her tuned up this week. And going to have her in Alify Marine. Have to do a service on it and make sure everything's in ship shape. And she's going to be on the market, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're looking for a good boat, no, honestly, man, it's been a great boat for me.
Yeah,
So
Triton makes a really good boat, but Triton just doesn't market in Florida, which
I agree.
I don't understand. They have a beautiful boat, but their marketing campaign doesn't include Florida, which is the fishing capital of the world, which I really don't.
Understand. You're right. It was tough, man, especially looking at some pro deals and doing some of that stuff like that. And it was they just don't have a lot of market share, like you said, in the area, but they do make a great boat. I've been very happy with the boat. I've guided at it for the last 5 years. So it's been good to me. It's been real good to me. Had a lot of fish across the deck, and it's got us there and back safely plenty of times. So if you're interested in that, I'll be posting some stuff on that. But in the meantime, we're going to talk some fishing, Jason. So let's hear what you've been up to, buddy. Give us a little report since you.
Well, you know.
In the meantime, we're going to talk some fishing, Jason.
That's free of
there
charge.
You go. Free of charge.
Free of charge. So I've made my shift over to O'Neill's.
Well, sort of.
Sort of, yeah.
you fished out of O'Neill's today.
Anybody
he goes, I'm coming back. I got the boat on the trailer. I says, that's not technically being at O'Neill's.
I had to roll because we had, radio tonight, which if you're listening on the air, it's Sunday. But and they got me into a lift over there, and the boat wouldn't fit in the lift because the strakes on the canyon bays are fairly aggressive, which is why they're dry. But when you're putting them on a lift, if you don't have the beams lined right up, they just don't sit right. And then we moved it to another one for the night, and it didn't fit because the boat's so wide. So I just said, and I was going to put it on the trailer. I said, and it's funny because I've actually moved out of deed restriction, which anybody that lives in deed restrictions, I feel for you because I did it for 13 years. And I was like, well, she's like, Lisa over at O'Neill's like, well, just, you can leave it here. I was like, well, I need extension cords. She's like, let me see if I can do. I'm thinking, I'll just drag it home. I can park on the side of my house. I built the house for that. I can back in my backyard.
That's right, man.
But
Ruskin, baby. You don't need there ain't nobody calling on you.
No, hey, man. So
you got to live with it.
Yeah, I took it home. But anyhow, it's going good, making the transition. It's always hard. It's not an easy transition, but just because I'm busy and I'm moving everything over, it's like moving your office. It's not an easy task, but we made it work.
Nice, man. Well, tell us a little bit of we know your personal life. What how's the fishing been, bud? I know you've been on water, like me. So, but you haven't really ventured out into the bay a whole lot yet. I mean, you've still been doing inshore stuff for right now, doing snook and reds, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, we actually found a few tarpon. We found a few tarpon today while we were snook fishing. Nothing crazy. We didn't hook, only threw for about 20 minutes. Client I had, he's tarpon fishing me before. The tarpon are starting to show, but they're not where they need to be. So I have a hard time taking people tarpon fishing when the numbers aren't there. And especially when you have a client that, when they're not thick, you're gonna have to really work.
Yeah.
And they're not thick, and I'm gonna have to really work, and there's a chance we could zero out. And this guy's been going with me 5-6 years. I just asked him. I said, Craig, you guys want a tarpon fish? Or it's like, man, we want to hand it. And he had a son who's average angler, nice guy though, but they want to catch a lot of fish, and so so that's what we did. We went snook fishing. Backside of a full moon always scares me. It's not that it's always bad, it's just always different. That's one thing I can guarantee. On a moon, things are going to change. And this is one of them full moons for me, Travis, that hadn't been that bad. I mean, it's actually been pretty good.
Everything sort of stabilized. There wasn't a whole lot of push around.
Well, there was some schools of reds actually showing, and some tarpon popping up in places.
In a bad way.
Right. Where last month
bait takes off. Yeah. Fish don't want to chew.
Yeah. Last month it was total opposite. We hit the full moon, and I think we all were like, "You got to be kidding me!"
Yeah.
So it just depends on the time of year and where it's falling in and which month. But it really is good. The snook fishing continues to be great. Not a lot of big fish, but a ton of small ones. We're getting some just under slot fish. Not that it's even open season, but just to give you a variance of what we're catching. Catching a lot in the 20 to 22 inch range. Honestly, snook has been our savior as far as catching a lot of good, game fish, because the redfish honestly have been really hit or miss. I ran across a school which I could not catch they were greyhounding it.
Right.
And
well, I can tell you, in addition to that, the trout fishing, for me, say the last month has really picked up.
I need to go where you're going.
Quite a few fish. I mean, we've had several limit days with 3 or 4 guys and released a lot of smaller fish, 13, 14 inches. And a lot of times what I'll do when those trout is I'll catch, say half the limit or so, and stretch them out to 14 or keep 15 inches maybe if just to get some stuff for dinner. But then after we get a handful of them, and if we're catching them schoolie fish, I'll lay back and I won't keep anything under about 16 inches, just as kind of a reserve, you know what I mean? Because in a lot of these places, especially the schoolie trout, are anywhere from 12 to, say, 17, 18 inches, and then you'll get that oddball 20, 22 incher, showing up here and there. But for the most part, a lot of the trout I've been catching have been, say, 16 to 18 inches on the top end of that slot, if you will. But that's been picked up as well. I know we got a comment on Facebook here from Tony, says this past weekend was horrible, and I can't disagree with that. We had that cold front, that little snap that came through, and you and I both fished on the front and the back side of that front, and it was pretty bad. I mean, there was a day after that front, I want to say it was, what had been, Saturday maybe, and we had tough bite. We ended up, catching some fish, but it was definitely work. You get to an area, you see some fish, fish are there, you pitch a bait out, nothing wants to eat, you throw some chum, maybe get 1 or 2 to fire off, and then we'll move to the next spot, and 15, 20 fish are just laying there, not even, want anything to do with it. So after you do about 3 or 4 different spots like that where there's fish,
you get that feeling.
You start to, the law of averages starts to kick in, and you go, well, it's not just this spot, it's not just this bait, it's not just this tide. We're having something that's affecting all these fish, and I think the pressure was definitely affecting us. As weatherman Rick said, he said we still had some clouds out there, and he gave me the whole report as I trolling motored by him back in Cockroach, and what he said was right on point. That the fish weren't going to eat very well this afternoon. And sure enough, they did. And like you said, we picked away a few fish, but it was no means a stellar bite.
Well,
after that front,
I want to toot my own horn, but I made a couple. I kind of knew going into that day that this is going to be a tough bite. And I went to a spot that the fish are pretty resilient even through cold fronts this time of year. And it has worked out because I had one spot. We ended up catching about 25 snook in the morning, and I caught about 15 or 20 in the afternoon. The afternoon was really scaring me because the wind picked up and I couldn't go to this other spot. But it was, my day was good, especially compared to what you guys did, but I caught almost all my fish on that one spot. And then
right
after that, it was, and Rick we had talked about this years ago about high pressure. And I think high pressure affects fish on the flats more than it does in a little bit deeper water, docks and stuff.
I agree.
So, and I was fishing a little bit deeper water, and every flat that I went to, man, the snook were they were not having it. So I fished some docks and caught quite a bit of snook, nothing real big, but it made the trip, especially dealing with. I mean, guys, whenever you get a cold front in May, it's going to be tough, and the difference between May and March is them fish are pretty much green in March. In May, they're already tired of getting caught. There's a lot of bait around. There's a bunch of excuses why they're not going to bite. In March, they're eating everything you throw at them because the white bait just shows up. It's it's that time of year. So there's cold fronts in late April and in May are just not. They're not going to make it easy. But that's the challenge of being a charter captain. Tony, my recommendation is you probably shouldn't have went, man. You're not a charter captain and the weather looked good. But hey, they say you know when to go fishing is when you can. So
you don't know until you go, man.
And Tony's a heck of an angler. He typically, he's up there with some of us that do it for a living. The guy knows how to fish. I know him, and but yeah, man, behind the front, like I said, people think we have this magic wand that we wave.
I got one. It just doesn't work. I guess it doesn't work a lot of times. I pull it out though.
One thing about Travis, I will say, one of your pluses that I've noticed about in my years of fishing next to you is, I got a few years on you in the business, but you're a really good fisherman. And one of the things about you is you grind stuff out, and I think that comes from tournaments. Like, you have to grind it out.
Yeah, if you're not confident, and even sometimes when you maybe shouldn't be, but you've got to be optimistic.
Sometimes I listen to you, I go, come on, man, listen. You're like, they'll be there. They'll be there. I'm like, are you trying to talk yourself into telling them?
You got to do it, man. Because what's the point when you got, if you're all ostriched up and got your head in the sand heading in there, chances are you're going to fail.
Yeah, so you have a good point. I try, and I'll do that sometimes.
It's a catch-22, man. It's a catch-22.
I hit that bar where I go, this just ain't going to happen, But then you got to grind through it, like you said. But anyhow, guys, we're going to take a little break. We get back. We'll be talking more fishing. Listen to Tampa Fishing Outfitters Radio on Sports Talk 1040 The Team.
And welcome back to listening to Tampa Fishing Outfitters Radio Show on Sports Talk 1040 The Team. Myself, Captain Travis Yaeckel in the studios. And by my side, I got my main man, Captain Jason Prieto in the studio.
Hey.
Oh, don't do it, dude. Don't do it. The guy, our viewers and listeners are dropping like flies, man.
Oh, God. Our ratings just plummeted.
To the ground. We are in a negative tide. But
that's so wrong.
But anyway, guys, we are here in the studios talking some fishing, keeping you up to speed on what's going on in Tampa Bay. Real quick, I'm going to give you some tides. This is going to be for Sunday. This is going to be May 14th. We've got a low tide at 9:43 a.m., and we've got a high tide at approximately 4 o'clock. It's going to be a 2.2. So you've got a nice little bump in the middle of the day from about noon to about 4 o'clock. And then you're going to get a good outgoing tide in the afternoon from, say, 4 till dark, 4:30 till dark. You won't even catch the end of it unless you stay out there past dark. But should be a pretty good tide in the afternoon. Not going to see a whole lot of water moving in the morning, but good time to get out, get some bait, get loaded up, get to your first spot and see what's going on. And then later in the day, around lunchtime or so, that water will start moving. It'll come in real good to about 4 o'clock, and then it'll dump out in the afternoon. Should give you some good outgoing tide. So with that being said, I'm gonna kind of give a little forecast then off of that, because we're moving into tarpon season. Like you said, I did some tarpon trips, and we were pretty successful. What was it, yesterday, day before?
Yeah, you pulled the cat out of the hat, man. I was impressed. I tend not to give you credit in front into your face because you run with it, but I did give you credit behind your back.
Careful, man. I might not be able to get out of this door.
I know. See, hey, but you know what?
No, I'm just kidding.
It's better to hear somebody say something good about you behind your back instead of bad, right?
That's the truth. I'd rather have it both ways, but right to my face, man.
No, we can't let you have all that.
I want it right to the face.
We don't want you. Hey, when I called you after you hooked in tarpon, I said, "Put that chest down, son."
Oh, you could see me.
You were packed up on that Canyon Bay deck, ready to roll, son.
Hey, ready to go.
Your hands at your hips.
The old guide pose.
Yeah.
It was good though, man. Like I said, we ended up finding a little pod of fish, kind of outside the crowd, and took a little bit to get them dialed in and get approached and kind of get set up. But we managed to fly 7 fish, get 2 of the boats. So it was a good day, man.
Slow down, fly 7 fish. Let's give you a little more credit there. You're sliding that one under the.
Well, it was. When you say, oh yeah, you stuck 7 or you hook 7 fish.
Did you hook them all at once? Because that seems to be the cool thing to do.
No. Actually, we had one double.
All of them?
We did have one double hookup, but we really kind of played the game as far as waiting them out, staying on the fish, trying to pattern the fish a little bit better.
That's tough. You gotta have the right clients to do that.
Well, in the right conditions, because really yesterday morning was a good day to go out and look for some tarpon and do some tarpon fishing. Towards the afternoon, after about lunchtime, 1 o'clock, that west wind picked up, man, and started honking. And we had hoped to do an early morning bite, do some snapper fishing or go offshore or do something, play with some mackerel, some sharks, stretch some lines during that slack tide in the morning, and then let that water come in, do some inshore fishing, and then go back out and do tarpon fishing on the hill tide. And the afternoon bite was there. We just really had to work for it. We ended up getting fish, but it was less than ideal conditions to be out tarpon fishing.
You get the afternoon.
Hats off to Rodan, my man, because I will say right now that Rodan is probably one of the main reasons why not only did we get on fish and stay on fish, but we were able to catch fish yesterday, because that was a big tool in the tool bag that we utilized a lot. And the other hats off is to Stealth One charging systems, because we're using that spot lock for hours at a time, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, whatever. And you hook a fish, and sometimes I'll fight the fish on the trolling motor. Other times I may crank up the outboard and just idle along. But all the while I'm charging those trolling motor batteries. And so when we made the run,
hats off to the guy that turned you onto it.
Hats off to the guy that turned me onto it, my man Capt Jason Prieto. And
dude, that is like the hidden jewel. The stealth charging system is like, man. Dude, if you anybody out there that is looking for something to charge on the run is what they call it. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. I pay for mine. I don't get it free.
No, exactly.
Listen, just search stealth charging system and read the reviews on forums, and the Bass guys use it. And if anybody uses trolling motors, it's the Bass guys. If you're running a 20, I'll tell you the option, guys. If you're running a 24 and you're like, man, I want the 36 for battery life. Instead of buying a 36-volt trolling motor, if you're happy with your current trolling motor, whatever brand it may be, we use Rodan, but there's a bunch of brands out there. Drop over, get a hold of Danny at Stealth, try out the Stealth charging system. And the theory behind it is you only need one onboard charger, 2 bank at that, and the DC side of that charger, you got an AC and a DC, 2 separate units. The DC actually charges your trolling motor batteries when either your engine cranks or your AC charger's plugged in. And to give you a quick breakdown, the charger actually reads voltage off of your starting battery. Whenever that starting battery hits, I think, 12.1 volts, that voltage triggers the DC side to kick on. So basically, you don't need 2 AC chargers, you don't need 2 extension cords. When you crank your motor, you're going to be charging unless your cranking battery is absolutely dead. Mm-hmm. And you're constantly charging your battery. On top of having extended life on your trolling motor, you're also going to have extended life on your batteries, because rule of thumb is when you drain your batteries down, I don't care what kind you have, consistently below 50% mark, you're killing the life of that battery. So by constantly putting a charge into them, you're making the battery life longer.
Yeah, so that day that, or like you said, you get out there chasing that redfish school, or you're out there tarpon fishing, or even catching bait in the mornings. You know, Jason and I use our trolling motors. I mean, they're like gold sometimes in the morning, especially out there on the markers. And we don't set an anchor, so we use our trolling motors maybe sometimes for an hour or so. And what you don't realize is by the time we catch bait, we clean the boat up, we run in, we pick up clients, or we run down and fish our first spot. We're charging those trolling motor batteries back up the whole time. So sometimes, and I've even watched my gauge sometimes, and you're almost fully charged by the time you get to the first spot. You're back up to voltage from when you started in the morning, and you've already ran it for, say, 30 minutes on the marker, sometimes at near full speed, back and forth trying to keep you on spot lock. But the other thing I want to throw out there is there is a local place to get a Stealth 1 charger. If you're in a pinch or whatever, or if you're thinking about, we got to order them, there's no place that stocks them or has them. Rodan is actually a dealer for Stealth 1 charging systems.
Yeah, so, I need to actually call them to get a gauge for my
so they have several of them in stock. They sell them as an option, obviously with the Rodan trolling motor. But if you're interested in one of those, you can pick them up locally. You can purchase them right from Rodan down in Sarasota. So that's always an option. And they've got the gauges and everything in stock. The other thing that I wanted to say while we're on this topic is on the Stealth 1 side, if you've already got an AC charger, let's say you've already got a 4-bank or 3-bank charger that you're using on your boat.
Marinco, or I'm trying to think of what's the other one?
The Bass Pro Shops makes one. Minn Kota makes one.
Any AC charger will work with the DC
Any battery charger that you have now currently, whether it's an onboard or a plug-in or whatever you've got, or alligator clips, you can buy the DC alligator side. Dude, some people are alligator clipping it still.
Bro, if you're buying a DC and you got using the timeout.
Hey, don't hate.
Timeout. Hold on.
Hey, we got all.
Guys,
we like all.
Here's
the
deal. If you're using alligator clips and you're buying the DC, let's go ahead and buy the AC side.
Yeah, you might as well. You might be
out there
on the verge of going ahead and breaking away from it. Breaking away
Danny,
from the alligator.
Danny, if you're watching the show, quit using alligator clips.
That's that big charger he rolls out that you use to start the school buses.
Yeah.
I'm going to charge the boat up tonight. But anyway, you can buy just the DC side and hook that up and just benefit from the ability of, when you crank and you're running on the outboard, you can keep her charged up. And it will extend the life of your batteries and the life of your day running your trolling motor, man. So
one thing I noticed, too, on charges, and we're getting on a tangent, but
it's a good topic.
And I didn't really understand. I know batteries pretty good, but I'm a little rusty on it since I've not done my previous.
What's rusty is Rick's trolling motor.
Yeah.
That's what's
Speaking of rusty, we should put a commercial with a picture of his trolling motor so people actually know what we're talking about. Anyways.
We love you, Rick.
The new chargers, I noticed they've got a gel. You can go gel or water on your battery. On a charger. So I guess it charges at a different rate or something.
It probably is, and discharge rates and charge rates of different batteries and materials. Like you'll sometimes I don't want to get off on a way different tangent, but I will say this, that years ago a guy from Interstate Battery a guy named Bobby that owns Interstate, they did a thing for Tom Mahoney, and they charged several different batteries and discharged them with a light bulb, and they used different chargers to recharge the batteries from a totally discharged battery. And one of the best battery chargers they found was Dual Pro. As far as being able to, it has to do with the sensing side of the charger to know when to shut the battery off. Because some batteries will show charge as far as potential voltage, but they actually aren't fully charged.
But if that was years ago, they've probably had a lot of.
So there's been probably some advancements with that, but nevertheless, Stealth 1 charging systems is what we were talking about. And if you don't have one in your boat and you do use a lot of trolling motor battery, definitely look into that. You can get them on Stealth 1 online or at Rodan.
It is honestly, guys, I ran a 24-volt trolling motor until this year. It's honestly a good combination if you got that 24-volt system.
And I'm running Group 31s, which is even better.
Yeah, go with Group 31s or 29s. Well, guys, we're going to take a little break. When we get back, we're giving you the come on, man. You listen to Tampa Fishing Outfitters Radio on Sports Talk 1040 The Team.
And welcome back to another great episode of Tampa Fishing Outfitters Radio Show on Sports Talk 1040 The Team. You're back with Captain Travis Yaeckel in the studio and Captain Jason Prieto, and we have been talking a lot of different things about fishing. Not really a whole lot of fishing, but we've been talking about some good stuff to have on your boat, especially getting into tarpon season.
Yeah, well,
I think we're hitting on some good stuff that might not be most closely related, but at the end of the day, is some really cool stuff that we use on our boats that make our day a little bit better, man.
Well,
really.
Listen, if you can mix, it all starts. It's like the way I like to think about fishing. Like you said, your tool bag. If you go to change a tire and you don't have an impact, and you got a 3/8 drive ratchet, your job's gonna be a lot harder.
You got a problem.
But if you come with an impact, son, that thing's coming off. Don't forget the jack.
That's right.
My point being is, these are the tools that are gonna make the job easier, and I think it's key. It
does, and it boils down to that serious. The guy that wants to get serious with it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're serious about your fishing, then some of the stuff we talk about is going to apply to you. And honestly, some of the stuff, you might be, you got a $2,000 boat, not to make any knocks, but you're probably not going to spend $600 on a battery charger.
You'd be surprised.
I might be surprised, but my point is it's not required. But when you get to that point where you really take it seriously and you want to do everything in your power to make sure that everything's right and that you don't have, most of those trips that you have when you end up, saying words that you shouldn't and throwing rods in the water and breaking stuff across your knee, it's the dumb stuff. Your batteries weren't charged. Your trolling motor plug didn't work. You hung your cast net. Most of this stuff, 9 times out of 10, isn't related to fishing. And so it's a testament even to say that's why we have clients, because a lot of people don't want to deal with that. And that's the stress of fishing. It's not, hooking fish or getting fish out of the bushes or landing fish. A lot of times it's all the preparation and all the tools and all the equipment and everything that it takes to put together to make a trip successful.
Yeah, we got the come on, man. I'm going to have to throw it out on you. You're going to be the come on, man.
What do you got?
My man Travis, let me tell you how dedicated this man is.
Oh, gosh.
He is dedicated, but he never has us tools to do the job.
What do we got?
This guy calls me. He's like, bro, tide's right. I'm going to get some crabs tonight. 9 o'clock comes.
It was like 9:30.
9 o'clock now. It's dark. It's dark out. I'm like, man, I ain't going to get no crabs at 9 o'clock at night. I'm tired. He goes, I got a tarpon trip Wednesday. And I tell you what, this is showing the dedication. Now, I had crabs. I just didn't choose to go at 9:30 at night. So, and I'll let you basically go over what you do. Which you basically get a headlamp and you go out there on the super low tides.
Yes.
So at 9 o'clock, he decides, this is all planned out. He's gonna get crabs. So when you go to do this, Travis, why don't you tell us exactly what you need?
You got to start off with something to put your crabs in.
Did you have that?
I had that. Then you got to have something to keep the crabs alive.
Did you have that?
Had that.
Okay.
Got to have something to be able to see the crabs.
Did you have that?
Had that.
No, well,
then you got to have something.
No, back up.
No, you got to have a headlight.
Yeah.
Then you got to have something to catch the crabs.
Did you have the headlight?
I had the headlight.
Where?
I had to go to Walmart to get a headlight because mine burned out.
So then you didn't have a headlight.
But I got a headlight. Before I went, I had my tools.
And so, and then what about to catch the crabs?
But I couldn't find my net.
Come on, man. You were like 2 for 4 at 9 o'clock at night. So who does he call? Hey, man.
Hey, you moved to Ruskin, man. That's the downside of moving to Ruskin. Now you're my neighbor.
Do you have a dip net? I said, I don't even think I got one. I had forgot that I had one, and you're like, I think you got one.
I think I knew I knew you had one. So I was just testing.
He's like, can I get one? I'm like, well, yeah, just go. Because I'll be like a ninja, man. I was like, just be quiet. My kids are in bed. I'll be like a ninja,
you won't
man.
Even hear me.
This is true. I'm not making this up.
I'll be the crab ninja.
He said, I'll be like a ninja. They won't even know I came. So I'm sitting there watching the basketball playoffs, and I'm waiting. No Travis.
And he goes,
Travis.
Turn the light on when you come out.
Yeah.
And I'm too short. I couldn't. You didn't see me doing jumping jacks in your backyard to get the light to come on?
No, and then you don't tell me that you got the net, and my boat's down on the lift, so if I didn't put it back up, it was going to come off the lift.
You said turn the light on. The light came on, and I left. Dude.
Creature of havoc.
Hey.
We're going to get you a shirt. I got to talk to your partner, Josh. I'm going to tell him to get on the back of the jersey.
The monster.
Not Yaeckel, Creature of Havoc. Creature of Havoc. Come on, man. You know what? Some days
you just got to do what you got to do, brother. I was ready to grab him by hand. I was to the point where I was like, if you didn't have a net, I'm going. I've made my mind up. I'm going to get crabs.
So, and then, no, it gets
better.
better.
My dip net. My little dip net.
So, how many crabs did you get?
Well, I got 0. But
come on, man. Oh, my God.
Hey, dude.
Game over.
It was the wind was howling. It looked like
were you pumping yourself up?
Yeah, I went.
Were you out there talking to yourself going, they're going to show?
No, I kind of had a pretty good idea. I'm like, man, this is not going to be good.
So you're being negative.
I was committed. There was a little bit of negativity involved, but the optimism, superseded, and I went out there and I did it. And after about 45 minutes, man, I was like, look, this is just not going to happen. So
we really need to do a TV show for the simple fact that people need to see you in action.
But last year, I mean, and normally it's a pretty good little deal. But
I mean, if we did a reality show just that night,
you never.
I mean, if a camera was following you around,
man, we used to go down and you take an
don't tell me how good it is.
You take an inner tube.
You didn't get a crab.
Yeah, but it was conditions, man.
Give us how you do it. This is actually useful.
How many times have you been fishing, not caught a fish?
Yeah, but I didn't forget my fishing pole.
Well, I mean,
I did that one time.
But no, you take. So back in the day, we used to go as kids, and you'd get like an inner tube, like a blow-up inner tube, and then you get one of them, like a metal pan or like a watering bowl or dish, like a farmer deal, and you put it in the middle, like a tin pan. Put it in the middle, and you hang a light off a piece of like a stick, and you hang it off a lantern or a light out in the water, and you just walk behind your bucket, and it lights. Crabs walk at night. Lobsters, crustaceans, they walk at night. So
Travis walks at night.
I was walking at night. Crabs. I was walking with the crabs, baby. Gotta think like a crab. I was even doing the crab walk. You should have seen me. I was on all fours. But no, but it really does work, and you can see crabs, and they'll walk, and you can dip net them up, and it's totally legal, and it's a way to catch blue crabs. We used to do it as a kid all the time. So we kind of developed a way to go get crabs to fish tarpon.
And you got a bunch last time, so I was all pumped up. I actually considered going with you, and I'm glad I didn't.
But when the conditions are right and everything works out right, you can actually do a pretty good job at it. But
that's kind of said with everything, right?
Yeah.
When conditions are right and everything goes right, you're going to score.
When conditions are right, then most things go pretty good. But that night, the conditions weren't right, and guys, things didn't go very good.
This is my weekly basis.
But I got crabs.
I
went tarpon fishing, and I caught tarpon. So
you did, but you didn't get the crabs.
#win. That's all I'm gonna say.
But you didn't get the crabs from the beach.
No, I did not get the crabs from the beach. I did not.
But that I tell you,
but I got the crabs.
That is dedication. Because honestly, I went and bought the crabs at $3.50 a piece. But you were dedicated. And then the funniest part is you got 0 crabs.
I did, man. I skunked out, but I had a great time by myself out there.
I could only imagine if we had a camera crew following you like a
The funny part was the guy sitting on the beach, the girlfriend and boyfriend sitting on the beach.
Oh, no.
And I walk out there at like 9:30 with my wading basket and my headlight. They're like, what's this guy doing? And I got a long dip net and a stick, and they're like, what the hell is this guy doing out here?
Kill you. They thought you were going to kill him.
They had no idea. They go, hey, what are you doing? Catching shrimp? And I was like, yeah, whatever I can find.
This story's just getting better by the minute.
You should have been there.
Oh, God.
It's good times, man.
And this goes with our tarpon conversation for sure. And we're gonna. I want to talk. We said we're gonna talk about tarpon rigging last week, and we didn't.
Well, we're probably getting close here on this one, but we got about 3 minutes left on this segment. But we'll kind of let's dedicate the tip of the week or the last segment of the show. We'll do tarpon rigging, tarpon techniques, and kind of talk a little bit about what's coming up.
Yeah, and leading into that, guys, I know everybody's getting antsy for tarpon. They've all got the bug. They're starting to show, but they're not really here. Good rule of thumb, we're a week or 2 weeks behind Boca Grande. The fish have showed up there, I know for a fact. So I'm thinking, I just closer to a week. I think any day now, especially behind this moon, you're going to see the fish show up. When they show up, they're going to be thick. Recommendation is, over the years, tarpon fishing in Tampa Bay, the popularity is crazy. And really, if you go out there and you don't know what you're doing, there's nothing wrong with that. We all learn one time or another. And heck, I learn something every day. I've been doing this a long time, but I don't ever claim to know everything. Heck, the way Travis got crabs, I've never done that before, but I mean, obviously wasn't successful the second time, so I don't know if I'd go again. But you really need to sit back and watch sometimes out there. There is a lot of people with a lot of money but don't have a lot of common sense, and they buy big boats. And they do dumb stuff out there. And it really messes up the anglers that know what they're doing. And it makes it hard for everybody. And I don't want to belittle somebody out there, but if you take a step back and watch the guys that know what they're doing, you'll pick up on stuff right there. I guess it's kind of like cheating. It's like cheating if you're taking a test next to somebody, you kind of look over them. But hey, I'd rather you do that than screw it up.
Mess me up.
Because it's really aggravating, and not even because I'm not saying this for me. I'm saying this for the entire tarpon group that fishes. Mm-hmm. People that don't make a living in the water, they spend a lot of money to go out there and tarpon fish that day. Give them that respect that they deserve.
Yeah.
And they'll give you the same respect when you hook up and you do the right things. There's too many people doing the wrong things out there, and it really creates this big negativity out there. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of yelling. There's a lot of people,
bad vibes, man.
There's a lot of bad vibes, and there's a lot of people out there trying to be the man. One thing I learned about fishing: you're going to be good, but there's always somebody going to be better than you.
Oh, 100%, man.
I mean,
or at least that day.
You're always fight. I can tell you, as a professional angler doing tournaments, Travis, I'm sure you agree with me. As a pretty successful guy in the business, you're always fighting to get that crown. But I've realized you're never going to get it, but you can't give up on the fight.
Well, it depends on what you're fighting for.
You always fight. You want to be that. You want to be that guy.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're ever that guy because there's too many guys that are good.
Yeah.
But I think if you want to stay in that elite group, but you kind of.
There's more than just the fish.
Yeah,
it's the way you present yourself. It's the way you are on the water. That's that day when you're struggling, the guy calls you in because you were respectful to him. Things like that. As an overall, that one day you might be better, but the 4 guys you cut off, are going to affect you for the rest of your season.
Yeah.
And so it's stuff like that, especially on the guide side of things. But even as a rec angler, you don't want to get off to the wrong foot. But, guys, we're running out of time for this segment, and we're going to take a little short break. It's the last one of the show. And when we get back, we're going to be talking some more tarpon tips. You guys listen to Tampa Fishing Outfitters radio show on Sports Talk 1040 The Team. Hang tight. We'll be right back.
Stop by Tampa Fishing Outfitters today and check out our O'Hero product line. Rods, reels, fluorocarbon lines, braided lines, hooks, and much more. Packed with an incredible inventory of over 10,000 items in stock. Tampa Fishing Outfitters is the perfect destination for any of your fishing needs. We also carry a great selection of sunglasses and fishing apparel. Our knowledgeable guides are here to answer all of your questions and to repair your rods and reels. Visit any of our 3 convenient locations for all of your fishing needs. Tampa Fishing Outfitters. If we don't have it, you don't need it.
And welcome back to the last segment of the show. Time flies when you're talking tarpon.
Talking tarpon.
Captain Travis
Sometimes it flies the right way, and sometimes it flies the wrong way.
Sometimes it drags. Guys, before we get to the tip of the week, I think, I'm not 100%, tune in next week. We're going to have a special guest, Dylan Hubbard.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show.
In the studios.
Yeah, really good show.
Yeah, we're going to be talking offshore fishing a lot. We're going to talk our inshore stuff because that's what we do. But we're going to talk some offshore fishing. We're also going to talk about these regulations. There's a lot of talk on social media and throughout the fishing community about the issues with the, I'm throwing a brain fart. What is it? Red snapper, right?
Red snapper, yeah.
The red snapper's like 3 days, which is a joke. And Dylan's pretty educated on stuff. Honestly, the offshore stuff, I try to keep up with it. It honestly fogs my brain, which isn't hard, but it's just complicated, and I don't do it. I know what I need to know. And I learned some of this stuff through the Florida Guides Association. It's a good thing about being on the board is I read some of the emails and kind of educate myself somewhat. But Dylan knows what's going on, and we're going to talk about this stuff because it's a problem. It's a problem. I don't know the fix, and we're going to talk about that. I think the main fix, people need to get involved more. Going on social media and complaining about stuff and not doing anything to back it up is not the answer. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
You can go over there and bark as loud as you want on social media and think you're the man, but get out and attend meetings and say, hey, what can I do to help fix this problem?
Involved.
Yeah,
sitting behind a computer ain't doing it. I mean, you got to get out and get involved if there's something you
I don't remember any lawmaker reading Facebook and somebody ranting off on a rant, which we've all done it. and going, wow, that guy makes sense. Let's go ahead and change the law. It doesn't work that way. That's not how the system works. So maybe that's how the social side of it works, but not actually getting something done. So, but anyhow, Dylan Hubbard's gonna. I gotta confirm. I think he's gonna be our guest next week, and so it'll be a good show. I'm looking forward to having him in here and talking some different stuff. So, now the captain's tip of the week. We're gonna give you guys some tips. We're gonna talk a little bit about rigging because it's just another tool in the toolbox, as Travis said. Rigging. When I do seminars, I cover a lot on rigging, and I almost feel like I'm beating a dead horse. But at the same time, when I get done, I say, man, it's really important. Mm-hmm. And it's the same. It's even more important with tarpon. You can get away with some stuff inshore. Tarpon, they got eyeballs the size of sand dollars.
Well, not to mention you're a lot of times you're flirting with fish, pushing 100+ pounds. So,
with 60-pound.
You've got a 60.
Gear.
Normally, you've got 60-pound class gear. Last year, we caught several fish on 40-pound class gear. Really. This year, you and I talked, and I kind of upped my gear just for the fact to kind of eliminate some of the time in the fight. Not necessarily that you couldn't land the fish, but some of these fish, especially as you get later in the year, you start getting to some post-spawn fish. I mean, you're looking at fish pushing the 200-pound mark, and even more than that. These fish been gorging. So you've got a large fish that you're working with now. I'll start with some of the rigging stuff, Jay, and I'll let you do some tactics or something. But I like a larger or a longer rod. I'm using 8-foot rods. I'm a spinning tackle kind of guy, so I prefer the large spinning gear. Right now, I'm actually still using Shimano products. So I've got some 8-foot Shimano Terez, and I've got some 8-foot Shimano Terramars, and a couple different backbone sizes. Heavy, extra heavy, stuff like that. With tarpon fishing, if I'm fishing with a crab, I really like a more flexible tip, a soft tip. So I'll go with an extra fast tip on an 8-foot rod if I'm crab fishing. When I go to chunk bait, I'll use a little bit stiffer rod. You can sort of get away with it. But 8,000 to a 10, 12,000 reel will do you just fine. I'm using 60-pound braid on those, down to a 60-pound fluorocarbon leader. The one thing we talked about last or a couple weeks ago was knots and rigging. And one of the things that I like to do, which some people will disagree with me, some people will agree with me, but I still tie a bimini on my braid down to my fluorocarbon leader.
I wouldn't disagree. I just don't do it.
Not so much. Everybody's the bimini twist is, from what I know and what I've been taught, is more of an offshore trolling knot. It's used as more of a spring, gives you a shock, leader per se, where you double up your mono, where if you were trolling for that, that shock, that impact of trolling. But I use it inshore. It's a knot I like to tie. I can tie it really fast, but it gives me double braid down to that fluorocarbon. So it gives me that chance of not pulling, or eliminates the chance of that braid pulling out of that fluorocarbon knot. I still tie a double uni down at the end, from the bimini down to a double uni, and then I like to snell my circle hooks, and that's the basic rig. Sometimes I'll adjust the size of that leader. Normally about 3 foot, 3 to 4 foot is fine. Sometimes I'll ramp it up and do a full 6-foot leader, but a lot of the water that I fish is a little dirtier, so sometimes the leader isn't quite as important, especially when you start fishing the bottom. I've even bumped up to 80-pound leader and been just fine on some of these bigger fish. But I would say typically that's about where I'm at, is a 60-pound main, 60-pound fluorocarbon leader. Crab fishing, I'm using a 5 to 6 aught circle hook. If I go up to a cut bait, sometimes, and this is another one where people will disagree or agree, but sometimes I'll go to an 8 or 9 aught circle hook on the cut bait. Mainly because I like, when that big fish eats, I want a big enough hook to where I can pull it out of the bait and get it into the fish. And sometimes that smaller hook gets wrapped up in the bait, or doesn't quite come unglued as well as maybe a bigger hook does, and get a good hook set. So that's the way I rig. I would say 90% of the time for tarpon fishing that's what I'm doing, and I'll kind of adjust that a little bit, maybe add some weight, free liner or cork, depending on what the circumstances are.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same deal. I don't tie a snell knot, which I've seen you tie. I don't like it, but I know it works. It's very hard to get off the hook.
Yeah, I mean I tell you where it comes from. If you've never tied a snell knot,
I've never tied one. I've seen
it's a pretty cool knot. I kind of got focused on that offshore bottom fishing. it's a knot that ties around the shank of the circle hook. And especially offshore, you always want to pull directly on the shank of a circle hook to get the best hook set. Sometimes when you tie a loop knot, sometimes when you just tie a regular fisherman's knot or a uni knot, sometimes that knot, if you'll notice, it'll slide around on the eye of the hook. And I'm not saying that it makes a giant difference. I'm not saying you're not going to catch fish, but when I look at it, I do my best all the time to try to avoid anything little. Yeah. And so it's just been programmed in me to put, snells on circle hooks. So that's what I do. I even do it inshore some of the times. But for me personally, I have confidence in it and it works. But any way you hook, tie a knot,
I do
it's going to be just fine.
I do it to the
most
hook.
Of the time.
Talking about leader too with tarpon, when the bite's on, it almost don't matter. You can go 80.
Yeah.
When it's not, and they're being picked. It's kind of like snook fishing, except it's same deal.
I've dropped down to 40 to get bit.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna probably lose it. You
never know. I mean,
but losing a fish is better than not catch the hook.
You say that. It's like funny. Everybody talks about that, right? So they go, oh well, you drop down to 40, you're definitely gonna lose these fish and all this other stuff. You've got, at least on my boat, and I know on your boat and most of the charter, you've got quality gear, you've got a quality reel that's got really good drag system on it. If you know how to fight a fish, you can catch them. I mean, there's guys that, think about this, is what I was going to say, was think about the fly fisherman that's using 30-pound tippet on a fly rod, and he's landing 60, 70, 80-pound fish.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it can be
done. It depends on where you
want to sit there and not get bit. The decision comes is when you know there's fish and they're just not eating, and the conditions, you got high sun, clear water, whatever, you either sit there and hope to get bit, or you drop down and find something that'll get you bit. And sometimes you have to make that decision. But
yeah, it's give and take. When you're not getting bit, and you see the fish, they're there. You got to try different stuff. You constantly change. We do it all the time.
Hook size, line size, bait size.
You can't get stuck
your
on
drift, your weight.
You can't
everything.
Get stuck what worked yesterday. Travis, one thing we don't do is promote ourselves. How can they get a hold of you? You want to do a tarpon trip?
Yeah, if you guys want to do some tarpon fishing, or if you want to do some inshore fishing, or just bay fishing, whatever, sharks, mackerel, kingfish, cobias, all that stuff. Sunset tours, dolphin tours. We can go find turtles. Anything you want to do, give me a holler.
Dip crabs at the beach.
Dip some crabs. I'm down for whatever.
Hey, he'll guarantee everything else, but getting crabs.
I guarantee a good time, baby. And we will definitely have that. But if you want to get a hold of me, give me a shout. It's 813-830-3474. If you want to memorize it's 813-830-FISH. That's me.
Guys, if you want to get a hold of me, do some fishing. All you gotta do is give me a call. I'm on tarpon all the way through July. Travis is gonna drag me out there and do it all the way through the end of July. Gets me all wound up. But you can get a hold of me at 813-727-9890. Check out my website, www.steadyactionfishingcharters.com. And we'll put you on the fish, whatever's biting that time of year. I'm looking forward to snapper fishing this year.
That's getting good too. I marked some fish, by the way. There's snapper around. We looked at.
I caught one today. Caught one nice one, and it was.
It won't be long.
It went in the cooler.
It won't be long.
It went in the cooler. It was snapper
in the cooler.
But so you guys want to get out, do some fishing with us, man? We'd love to get you out there. Both of us are local guys. Been here forever. I've been here my whole life. I think you have.
Likewise.
Too, right?
Yep.
So, and we take pride in putting people on fish.
Absolutely.
And having a good time. That's always part of it.
Gotta have a good time.
Well, guys, it's been a great show. How much time we got? We're wrapping up.
Close her down.
I like the realness of the show.
Close her down.
I just ask. It don't even matter.
It don't matter.
It don't matter. But, guys, it's been a great show. We're going to go catch some fish until next week. Tight lines and go catch them up.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it. Y'all have a good week. We'll see you next week.